Let's talk about the sales process. All right. So we've spent 2 weeks ago, we talked about the connection phase. And if you do the connection phase correctly, guess what? Then the phase we talked about last week, building the emotion, the stories, the situation evaluation, that works better. If you do both of those right, then this will flow for you. And I always say that because we tend to think of sales as the close is at the end.
Hmm.
If you're leaving the close till the end, I mean, you're really just you're putting all your chips on an unknown thing. Whereas if you do the first, so I would encourage you go back and watch 2 weeks ago, last week, and watch this week. And I'm just telling you, if you will do the first two correct, everything here will flow very smoothly. You won't be stammering, you won't be trying to convince, you won't be trying to strong arm. If you do those two things correctly, by this part of the phase, it's the two of you looking at the problem together to solve the problem. Does that make sense? It's not me trying to get you, right? We're not like this, me trying to get you to give me your banking and your social and do the application so that I can sell you something. If you do the first two correctly, by the time you get here, it's you and me, and here's the problem. Let's solve this problem together. Omar, talk to us. Share some stuff along those lines. I know you're very process oriented, and I know that there is a process. There is
Yeah,
it's done a certain way for a reason. So can you talk to us about that for a bit?
absolutely. Yeah. And so, along those lines, guys, I feel like when I'm listening to the phone work, it almost sounds like for new people specifically, but veterans can get stuck in this loop sometimes too, where this is the easiest part of the conversation, right? It just is because it's just facts and numbers and basically you using a quoting tool, right? So there's not a lot of information you need to know to make this work. Just a couple of questions you got to ask, and the quoting tool does the rest, right? So when I'm listening to the phone work, it feels as if agents think that this is the destination right here. Like this is what I'm trying to, this is where all the magic happens. It's in the quote, right? And because of that, the first two phases are often not treated with the respect they deserve because you think this is where we need to be right here. And so what ends up happening is you you treat the solution phase and the quote as the place you just kind of end up by default, right? It's a place you end up when you just run out of questions to ask. And okay, well, I asked a couple questions about the family. We didn't really get too far into that. They told me they were married. All right, time to ask for the height and weight, right? And it's just, I promise you, it's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart. So, and I know when you're new, this is the part that causes the most anxiety, right? Because this is where your knowledge is usually the weakest. Like I don't know all the products, I don't know all this stuff. But if these first two sections are taken care of, this part is so simple, it's so easy, right? It's just like Stephen was saying, it's us collaborating here, and it's so important to understand that if it's Omar's idea for you to buy life insurance, it's never going to work, right? But if we're coming out of the story time situation phase and we're using that as a launch pad into the solution phase, now we're in this thing together. So don't look at this as the default destination. This is just part of the ride, and frankly, it's the least important part of the ride.
Yeah, and Omar, what I see so much, it's funny. I was just talking to John Davis. He called me. It's like, hey, I got I got tape on one of your folks, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's not like that's a one off. Like
Hmm.
anybody that's struggling in sales, they're not being process oriented.
Yeah.
If you're process oriented, you'll arrive at the best place possible. It's no different, right? Like I know how to get to my house from the airport, right? I do it a lot, right? When I leave my house, I go a certain way. I don't go, huh? Well, let's see if we can get over. Let's try turning right out of King Heights Drive and see if that gets us there, right? You have to move the same exact way again and again. So the first part we talked about connection. Last week we talked about stories. We talked about digging deep. Now we're getting into a space where we're going to start going over some health questions, where we're going to start finding out about the person. Now, let me tell you something. This is an opportunity for you to take connection to the next level. This is not dry and clinical. This is where your human empathy is so key. So as you're getting into finding out about health, empathy is your number one tool here to move towards solving this together. Like Omar said, if it's Omar's idea, then he got to close them. We got to close them. We got to sell them. We got to close them. When it's our idea together and you move into the health questions and then bring real empathy to the plate, you now become a powerful person in their world. We talked about this previously. Like when you are different than all the other noise in their life, you become a powerful person. So when we get into finding out about the health questions, real genuine empathy, they tell you about a health challenge, go, oh man, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that. That sounds tough. I'm sorry to hear that. Let me ask you, I've had other clients, or my grandmother went through a similar thing. Did you find this to be the case? Did you find that to be the case? And so you say, but I don't have all those yet. Start collecting them. Start collecting them. Start collecting them. Having a real empathetic conversation as you're finding out about health. If you get into this and I say, yeah, I'm on no medications. Really? At 68? That what a blessing. You must be living right. I'm telling you what. What's the secret, brother? Like that is awesome. I got to tell you, most clients I talk to at 68, they're on at least 3 or 4. Wow, that's awesome. Or they're 68 and they're like, well, I take a little bit for blood pressure. Everybody always takes a little bit for blood pressure. I take a little something for blood pressure. Sometimes it turns into a four something, four something for blood pressure. But anyways, so blood pressure. That's all. So that's all you got. Oh, that's awesome. Or you'll find people that you're doing. That's what a blessing to be doing so well. But it's got to come from a place of real empathy where you are genuinely feeling this person and they feel your genuine care and concern. Because guess what? Their phone's not going to stop ringing, right? Especially if it's final expense sale. Because if they submitted one lead, they submitted multiple leads. Their phone's not going to stop ringing. When you have genuine empathy, when you move through the health discussion, that's where you become irreplaceable. Omar, you want to talk some process with us as we're doing these things, or things
Yeah.
I'm hitting on that just like let's just keep bouncing back and forth, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I will add on that. It's just it's really important to understand that like connecting can happen at any point in a conversation, and there are certain points where it needs to happen more. But you don't stop. You don't leave the connection phase and stop connecting, right? So you got to build on it in every phase. And when you're providing a solution, as Stephen is talking about, it's one of the most important parts because if you're not careful, it can get really dry really quickly. And remember, even though they're 72 and they go to the doctor, they got health stuff, they still don't know who you are. This is still like intimate information that they're sharing with you, right? And you should treat it as such. You know what I mean? I see a lot of that where we sometimes just treat it like a laundry list or just something that you're just going down the line, going down the line. Can you spell that for me? Okay, thank you. What else you got? And it's you can undo some great connection right here. I hear it all the time. Some goodwill that you've built up can all be undone in this part of the process if we're just kind of going through the list, getting all the meds, asking the follow-up questions, and we're not being empathetic. So and that's in the checklist, in the sales space checklist. Like we speak to that specifically. Like that's not what you do. So just be mindful of that, right? This is still a human on the phone here, and we still got another phase or two to get to before this is a done deal.
Yeah, and so what you said, connection can happen at any time.
Mm,
The opposite is also 100% true. Disconnect can happen at any time.
yeah.
Like if you're saying, I did the story right, I did that right. I got 3, 4 questions deep, but then I didn't get the sale. A lot of times that's because disconnection happens.
Yeah.
You'll hear me say that all the time. When the feel changes, that's when you lose the sale. And so if you're dry and clinical here, then the feel's going to change. The feel's
Yeah.
going to change. The disconnection is going to happen, and then you're going to get to the end, and they're going to say, "Well, let me think about it."
Yeah.
It's like, but I did the emotion part right, but we lost them here. This is a key place that you can absolutely lose them. Now, here's what I'll tell you, and jump in on this, Omar. Tell me from
Mhm.
all your phone work. I think what affects agents most here is that they're trying to get the deal done, and
Mm.
they feel like they've got to move faster. When you're talking medications and hospitalizations and health history, you can't, don't worry about speed. Don't worry about, I don't, if this is taking too long, I'm going to lose them. Let me tell you something. If you did the first two parts right, and then you come to this information, really information gathering phase, if you come to that right with genuine human empathy, guess what? Let me let you in on a secret. If you do that right, they don't want to let you off the phone.
Yeah.
What you're worried about is not real. I'm telling you that nobody, hardly anybody in their life meets them in a place of genuine empathy.
Yeah.
If you read studies of most seniors, they'll tell you the things that seniors struggle with. Number one is loneliness. The thing that seniors struggle with, number two, is being made to feel uh, not needed. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, being made to feel that they're not needed. There's a better word. I was just reading some studies on this. They use a better word because it was an expensive study. Um, but that's the two things they struggle with the most with their mental and emotional health. So why is that? Because people don't meet them in a place of genuine empathy. The doctor's a prescription mill for them. Then they send them off to the pharmacy to go pick up their scripts. The kids don't call as much as they used to. The grandkids don't call as much as they used to. They wish they had more. The seniors lack connection. That's why there's such an issue with mental and emotional health with seniors. So here's what I'm telling you. All the data from all the survey people, like the Harvard survey, you know, the one in Minnesota, what's with it? It's like famous medical survey. Anyways, they tell you those same things. So you can't go too slow here. Don't worry about that. It's not real. Take your
Yeah.
time, have conversations. Oh, so they don't have you on a statin. Let me ask you, did you have a hard time like tolerating statins? Because I've had folks have told me, yeah, no, they put me on a statin, and yeah, no, I didn't like the way I felt on it. And it's like, man, so your doctor was willing to change that for you. That's great. So you like your doctor a lot? Does he pretty real about this? Oh yeah, no, I love my doctor. Oh man, that's awesome. There's not a lot of good doctors out there that take the time. That's awesome. By the way, for me and you to keep connection, guess what? I hate your enemy. And I love your friend. Does that make sense? Omar, you want to talk a little bit too? That I kind of went a little long on the part there about but it's just so
Yeah.
I can hear it in phone work. Maybe you hear it in phone work too. It's just like I feel like they get because they're worried about time. Don't worry about time.
Yeah.
Love the one you're with, brother.
That's it. That's it. There's a couple of things on the technical side, like overthinking. As a new agent, just overthinking the quoting tool and like how much should I quote and how much should I give? This is what you're doing, right? This is your chosen career path. You should know how much a basic cremation costs. You should know how much a basic funeral costs, just as benchmarks in your mind, right? Just know what those numbers are on average. Now, doesn't mean we're going to quote any of those numbers, but you need to know what that is, right? You need to know what that looks like. You know what that costs roughly. And then on the heels of the situation phase, you should already understand their problem. So, and I know that we talk about budget and stuff and some of the lists. I don't love having the budget conversation because you don't really need to if we've taken care of the problem. So if we understand who they love, who they're trying to take care of, and what they want that to look like for their children, their grandchildren, money left over, whatever that is, well, then we know that that's going to be at least 25 grand, right? Like you know that, right? So like we may not go with the 25 grand, but I'm going to put that on the table and I'm not going to bleed over too much to the presentation phase, but you need to be able to explain that number in a way that solves the problem. It's not just a number and a price, but get ahead of myself. But seriously, you got to know how much that stuff costs and you got to know the problem they're trying to solve. Right. If you ask somebody how much they want to spend on this, as little as they possibly can, it's always the answer.
Right.
Right. So you need to understand as a financial professional, but be it final expense, be it whatever you're working on, you should know roughly what that market looks like and what those costs are. And then when it comes to selecting your carriers, we have a very specific few carriers that we deal with for, again, a new person. If you've written 50 policies, we'll expand the sandbox for you some. But as a new person, like you only need to be looking at 3 or 4 carriers and for very specific reasons. And it takes all the thought out of it. You already know which carriers you're going with, if they're pretty healthy, if they're kind of sick, or if they're really sick. So I hear that a lot. There's a lot of fumbling and bumbling because you don't have a real foundational understanding of what you need to be doing here. And it's all in the training, it's all in the checklist. So if you guys use those things for reference, it'll go much smoother when you're doing the process.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. Silence is your friend.
Mm.
Like a lot of bad phone work I hear is full of well silence is your friend. Don't be afraid of silence. Think about it. This is where you're setting yourself up as a professional. I'm gonna talk two different sides of this. When you're a professional, be a professional. A professional doesn't need to fill all the space with sound. A professional is comfortable in his own skin. Think about it. When you go to your doctor, if you got a good doctor, is he like stammering around trying to fill all the space with noise? No, don't be afraid of silence. Silence is your friend. Keep in mind, all the stuff we've talked to just up until now, really, silence does some beautiful work while you're working to put together programs for them.
Yeah.
Because think about this, Omar, we got them to talk about Aunt Sally when she died, and it was a
Hmm.
mess. We got them to think about either what the remaining spouse is gonna have to go through, or what their grandchildren or children are gonna have to go through. Like we walked them through those things. Now we just found out about their health. Guess what? They're feeling very vulnerable right now. So some silence here actually does some positive things for you. One, it lets all of that sink in. So we're talking about these very emotional things. Then we talk about health. There's a now what happens inside the client's mind is there's a feeling of scarcity, a feeling of, oh, what if I can't get this? Right? It's not a guaranteed thing, right? Think about most seniors. They sit home and what do they hear? Guaranteed acceptance. You cannot be turned down. Right. So their view of life insurance isn't reality a lot of
Yeah.
times. When you have the silence after talking about the medications and you're saying, okay, I'm working to find the best situation for you based on the health things. Now, I'm going to be straight with you. Atrial fibrillation makes it hard for us to get a policy for you. But the good news in that is that we're a big brokerage. So I'm going to look at all the different options we have, and I'm going to find the absolute best spot for you. So, the bad news is atrial fibrillation is a tough one. The good news is you're not going to have to buy one of those garbage policies on TV. I'm going to work to find the best situation for you to have some day one coverage, if at all possible. So you're in other words, like all that scarcity starts to set in, and now it's like, well, I really want to get this done. So don't be afraid of that silence. Now, here's the thing I'll tell you. Listen, maybe let's shift to this, Omar. I know each of these calls has run over time, but I don't care. I can talk sales all day. It's like talking golf. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to talk all day, talk to me about sales, talk to me about golf. I love it. So now you need to be the pro.
Mm.
Don't be the scaredy pants. It's crazy. There's two things that most agents don't believe, but these are 100% true. If you've got bad persistency, it's a you problem.
Right.
I could show you who has the most chargebacks in the entire company, and
Mm.
it's not everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with average policy size. We tend to think that's an out there problem, but I'm telling you, 99% of the time, it's an agent problem.
Right.
Be strong. Be strong. Start high. Let them tell you that we need to work down in the budget. But when especially and we've talked, in the previous two calls, we've talked also IUL and annuity. We've talked more maybe final expense centric here. But if your first offering is $5,000, that I think that's weak. Be
Yeah.
a pro. They told you what they want. Now tell them what they want costs.
Yep.
And don't do it apologetically. Don't do it
Hmm.
stammering. Don't do it like, well, so the this is hard. Just be a pro. Tell them
Yeah.
unapologetically, unapologetically. When you go to buy a car, if the car salesman is good, he's unapologetic in how he offers you what you told him you wanted.
Yeah.
So don't be apologetic. They told you what they want. Give them three options. Make the big option big. And one of the things I always like to tell people when I'm coaching them one-on-one, I'll say, hey, you know, I'm going to show you three options, all of which will answer what you have asked me to take care of for you. Now, the biggest option, it may not fit budget wise, but I didn't want to make that decision for you. The biggest option will make sure that we can take care of all that, and we've built in inflation protection. So if the biggest one doesn't fit budget wise, zero problem. I've got three options for you here. So Omar, can you talk a little bit about formulating three options?
Definitely. And I'm glad that was going to be my segue because I hear people mess it up a lot, right? And basically, you're in control. So just be in control of the conversation. I hear this all the time, every week, where the client pulls some number out of wherever they get it from, right? And they say, well, this is what I want. And what do? You pull up the quoter and start typing that in. I go, no, that's not what you do, right? Because who cares? Like they may not be able to afford it, they may not be able to qualify for it, right? So, I see that a lot, just jumping around. Well, this Fortress is charging this much, and Transamerica has that much, and then Mutual of Omaha they're a little bit less. We can try that, and you're just all over the place, right? And that does not instill confidence like in your client, right? You sound scattered because you are. Choose one company, only one company, do three options, not just the one that they told you that they wanted. And as a matter of fact, they tell you what they want. I have more questions, for that. Like where's that number coming from? And they're gonna pick the middle one because science or something. That's just what happens. I mean, seriously, like 90% of the time, that's what's happening. And then from there, we move on, right? We're getting the thing in place. But I can't emphasize enough knowing your carriers, knowing who you're going to use ahead of time, your three or four carriers, three quotes, high, middle, low. I know this seems simple and obvious, but people don't get this right, and it messes up your results. I promise you, it's going to screw it up.
So the brain can't take more than three options. And I can show you study after study after study after study. When you start giving 4 and 5 options, like literally, we can track your close rates going down.
Yeah.
It's too many options to think about. The brain struggles with more than 3 options. So know that's the case. And just, you're not special. I'm sorry. Mama lied. You're not special. You have to play. They have to play by the rules the rest of us play by. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just telling you, don't start because like once you go to 4 options, once you go to 5 options, I already know how the call ends.
Yeah. Yep.
Omar, how does that call in? I just showed you 5 options. How does it call in? What's going to be your final thing you're going to say to me as the salesperson? You're the client. Okay, so then I could also, but if so I could do 25,000, but I also ran it at 20,000, and then but then also one. So then like I got 15,000, then I also got 10,000, and then I also wanted to show you something over here with CDS. So this is kind of what I'm looking at for you. I mean, how does that call end? 99.9999999. I know. How does that call in 100 times out of 100?
Let me think about it and get back to you.
Every time. Every time. And we
time.
think it's the client. We think it's the leads. No, you violated human psychology. You gave them more than 3 options.
Yeah.
Why do you think the whole entire financial industry, sales industry, car industry, everything works the same way? Why? Because there's certain laws of psychology. When you start taking them 8 different ways, guess what? They're not lying about the think about it.
Yeah.
You gave them something to think about.
Yeah,
You gave them far too much to think about.
Yeah.
Far too much to think about. So be a professional, be in charge. Now and I know you're going to talk about the solidify process, I believe in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This part and the solidify part, this is where you need to buckle up and be an adult. Put the options out there. Let silence do its work.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start stammering. Don't start trying to fill the space with noise. Be a professional. So what you told me was you wanted to make sure that a funeral was taken care of. We wanted to make sure that the grandkids didn't have anything to worry about. We wanted to make sure that it was a nice funerals so that they could, celebrate your life, think about your legacy. Here's three options
Mhm.
for that. Now, the company that is going to be the best for you is going to be Transamerica. They're a fantastic company, great grades financially, but here are our three options. And then be a pro. Be a pro. Don't start jumping back in and start trying to fill it with noise. Don't let their hesitation cause you to throw a fourth out there and a fifth out there. You still hear that on phone work? I used to hear it on phone work all the time.
Yes.
It's the pause. The client pauses, and instead of letting the client just let that sit, but I could also, I mean, I could also show you 8,000, and
Yep.
then we're now. I mean, you're just in the quicksand. You're in the
Yep.
quicksand.
Absolutely.
I say this all the time, and I'm going to end with this. Actually, no, Omar. Any other thoughts that I missed that we need to get in here before I give my concluding thought?
No, we hit all the technical stuff. I mean, like I'm looking at the solution phase right here. We covered all the main points. So we got it.
All right. Don't be afraid to miss the sale because you will miss the sale.
Mm.
Don't be so afraid to miss the sale because you will miss the sale. I would rather have you miss a sale and keep your boldness than make a sale and sacrifice your posture. Because here's the thing, boldness and posture will get results. If you sacrifice your posture and a sale accidentally happens, God, I almost wish it didn't.
Yeah.
No, I don't almost. I wish it didn't because now you're going to think that works. You're going to start violating the system. There are certain rules of human psychology. People want to be led. Empathy is one of the most powerful things. The brain can't handle more than three options. Everything we're giving you guys, I'm telling you, this is a quarter century of me selling. This is a quarter century of me reading psychology books and marketing books. All this stuff is there for a reason. So go back through the Agent Academy. Go back through the last three calls. I'm saying be a pro. Be a pro. Guys, I want to give a quick, again, Cleo and Adam and Cindy, way to go. That's just awesome. I can't wait to go to Thailand with you guys. That is just so, so awesome. So proud of you guys. Thank you for bringing results, right? Encouragement is awesome. Seeing the numbers, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where the work that you guys have been doing in the shadows is now being seen in the light. That's how it always works. Lead measures lead to lag measures, good or bad, right? Those are good. So proud of you guys. Next week's call at Nexus, going to be talking about their new annuities. Guys, if you don't have a dead set, no matter what annuity per month number, get that done between now and next week, and then maybe let next week's call cause you to bump it up one more, right? Just have a number, dead set, no matter what. I'm going to find X amount of annuities a week. I'm telling you, they're out there, they're out there, they're out there. And I would rather have that client protected by you long term. You get a life insurance policy in the house, you get an annuity in the house, you get a referral, you get a mutual Omar critical illness in the house. That's a client for life, and that's going to become a referral tree, guys. Guys, Holly and I love you. We want you guys to win more than you could possibly imagine. You should hear how much our staff wants every single one of you guys to win. When we have our staff meetings and we have a meal together, what we talk about is y'all. We talk about y'all and how we can help y'all win more. We got Stage of Success coming up end of April, Burlington, North Carolina. Get there, get there. It's going to be powerful. Love y'all. Hammer down. Let's get out. Let's get after it. Thanks again, Omar.